There have been a lot of people who wore natural African hairstyles or African style hairstyles, including dreadlocks. Some newscasters that a while back were shown the door, told they had to, straighten their hair and so forth, especially women. That's changing now, and there's some states and cities who are passing laws that say it's racist to tell somebody with dreadlocks or with another style of hair that isn't pressed and straightened that they have to wear a different hairstyle.
But is that necessarily I mean, a white dude who's got long hair is often, at work, they'll say you got to cut that hair. This is a professional type of thing, and you got to wear a suit and tie, and you have to cut your hair. You can't have long hair. Do you think there's a problem with it because it's a more of an African American style of hair, like if it was a big afro, or just that it's long and so they want it kept short?
I've seen a lot more guys with long hair now working in a lot of different places. I remember back in the '60s, I didn't think it was a problem. But typically the people I'm talking about it's usually black women who have decided.
Oh, and they go afro.
They go afro, or they're going to wear locks, or they're not going to straighten their hair anymore, and they're told that it's not professional and it doesn't look good, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, it's racist.
And
that's racist. That's different.
And sometimes the racism may not be that these are people who don't have black friends or something, but they have attitudes, things that just strike them wrong. Like the people calling cops on, there's some black people barbecuing in the park. Well, I got to call the cop. There's a little black girl here selling lemonade. I got to call the cops on her.
Yeah. What'd you do? Babysitting while black? What?
Yeah.
What are you in for? That. Barbecuing while black? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think these are people who would necessarily think of themselves as racist, but something clicked, something that maybe they don't even understand click, that there are differences in cultures, and you moved into a black neighborhood and you're used to everybody being quiet and not playing music and enjoying life outside and whatnot. And now here they are, or the guy that wants to walk his dog on Howard University's campus and let the dog poop in the yard. And well, no, we don't. That's private property, and you don't have the right to do that. Sometimes, not all racism, not all things not all people are hateful. Sometimes they just don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably where it stems from. And they always say, and it sounds so hokey and bullshit, like, oh, it's learned, nobody's born that way, it's learned. And it is. And then being way more open-minded than a lot of people would be. I'm sure you've been on the raw end before, but you almost feel bad, when you see some folks really almost like in the middle of nowhere, kind of, or folks that you just know are not educated, and you go, all right, grandpappy was freaking racist, and then like that, that's just how it was in the household. Yeah. And maybe this generation is trying, whatever, and like they're cool, and like you say, I got the one black friend or whatever, but it's so ingrained in them. But I don't know, man, it's still, you can understand it, but it's still, you can't forgive it, especially if you got a badge on.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you how it would show up in my life in voiceover. I'd be doing a commercial, and I would have a white director. Can you make that blacker?
Yeah.
And I would say, or use the euphemism, can you make that more urban? As a matter of fact, I understand urban more than blacker. And what I would finally say sometimes to them, and not in anger, this is, we're not always responsible for the attitudes that we've been fed, and especially when they're subtle and we don't realize it. And I said, look, would you ever ask a white actor to make it whiter? No, you'd say, okay, this character is from this place. He's this level of education. He's got the New York sound. He's got a California sound. He's from the South. He's went to school here, here, and here. This is his worldview. You wouldn't just go, oh, make it whiter, because there's no monolithic thought among white people, just like there's no monolithic thought among black people. But this particular white director at that moment isn't thinking about that. We see things a little different. And we're watching Friends, and to us, we go, where are the black people? Where are all the other minorities? Isn't this New York?
Well, this is what I've seen happen in voiceover. I've seen, usually it's they're falling all over themselves because they're trying to tell me, look, we want a black guy. But of course, they can't. So of course, like you say, urban, we're looking for whatever, and then but then they will, I could send them your demo, and then they go, no, because like you said, can they black it up a little? And you're like, listen, I promise you, I'll send you a headshot. Like he's authentic. But are you looking for like 80 crack? Like how? Like what are you looking for? Is it because you want like a thug kind of thing? But no, we don't. Well, he is a criminal, but and they're killing themselves trying to. Like, listen, just say you want a black guy because we got them, and they're gonna be happy when it freaking says AA right on the audition. You don't have to, use these euphemisms because there is. And now you could correct me here because there's a freak white guy saying this. You got to be careful with everything. But I hear to my ear, there is a difference. There is something, especially in African American males, and it's not the way that they.
It's not
they speak. There's something in
the tone.
Yeah, there's something in there where you can just tell where you go. Wait, that again. I'm attuned to voice because that's what I do. But there's. What is that? I don't even know if that's been studied.
What?
There's something physiologically that you go, yeah, that's probably, it's got to be.
I hear a difference in my Latin brothers and my Asian brothers,
yeah,
and my white brothers, depending on where they're from.
Sure.
So much of it is culture, what you grew up hearing, just like accent. If you're from New York, you're going to have some kind of New York accent. If you're from the South,
I've been trying to stop it for years now, and I still have it.
If you're from the South, there's going to be something Southern in there. But you're talking about like myself. I went to private boys' school. I went to college, and I know more people. I need more black people like me who are college educated, sometimes with masters and PhDs, and there's still something black about them as they speak. Look at a Morgan Freeman, very black voice, speaks wonderfully.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not about, which again is an incredibly like racist thought to be like, well, I'm well educated, so blah blah, and has nothing. It's not the. I think physiologically there's something where, can't you peg it? Can you go, that's got to be a black guy when you just hear the voice?
I don't think it's physiological.
You don't think it's the voice? You don't think it's in the voice box? You think it's in the culture?
I think it's more cultural. I know black folks that grew up in suburban America, and perhaps they were the only one, and they sound like their white counterparts. I can dial it in or dial it out. I can be more brother if I need to be, because I went to white boys' school.
What do you think? There's a few out there actually, and some of them are doing really well. And I know there's one black actress that I know is always like, what? She goes crazy every time they book. That are white, and they like do black. They have like sometimes like different names and everything, and do well. Does that bother you?
There's a part of it that bothers me, but there's not I've got some white friends that grew up in black neighborhoods. Buddy of mine who, when he was a little boy, his mother married a black man. He grew up in Oakland. And when he is doing a black voice, it's a black voice. It's just in him. He's not trying to be something that he's not. And frankly, I can only be so upset. Now, I'm more upset with the people who do the hiring than the actor that takes the job. I mean, I play Africans and Jamaicans
Well, in
and,
voiceover, they might
and
not know.
English people and all kinds of other things. Um, there's been a few video games where, especially with black women, that a white woman has done the part and be a major part. And when it's brought up to the producer, we couldn't find anybody. Well, that's just lazy. That's just not true. You could. Um, those are the kinds of things. There's not a hard, fast rule, but when you look at the landscape of America and who's here, it's just not white people or Latin people or black people or Asian people. It's a variety of us. And I think in many ways, although I think this administration would like to turn it around, we've gotten to the point in uh, a lot of entertainment that we welcome and celebrate the diversity of America in our casting. But there are those who, for whatever reason, don't want to do that.
We got to give it like one more generation. You know, it seems to get better. Like the
Oh,
outlook gets better. You know, like I think all that
it's
old
gotten a
ass
lot
hate
better.
like gets kind of diluted from generation to generation. You know, and we're like pretty much the same generation. And you see the younger ones, and they seem to be even cooler and more open minded. And like it just takes time, like to dilute like all that freaking hate out of you. I guess
Well,
you hear
there
less of it from your
and
parents as it goes and goes, and
yeah, and there's the institutional racism that may not be judging you as an individual, but is judging a group of people. The fact that for the same crime, a black man's going to get more time than a white man. Those kinds of things. The idea in the workplace that the white worker is going to be judged okay until he proves himself not okay, and the black worker is going to be questioned, going to be suspected uh, until hopefully at some point he has proven he's okay. And it's these little things um, that, well, they're actually not that little, are they? That has kept us apart. And the fact that we do not, as a nation, we've never talked about what this really means. We've had a civil rights movement, but we've never had the real conversation. We gloss over, oh, slavery, that was a long time ago, but we don't talk about the things that happened after slavery that continued the mindset. Uh, my father fought in World War II. The GI Bill was there for soldiers, but he wasn't able to take advantage of it to buy property because black people weren't allowed because we were redlined. And there have been so many things historically that have uh, put black people in a position that we're not enjoying the same fruits as everyone else. Does that mean you can't succeed? No. I worked hard and have, but when your education, when your opportunities, when how you're looked at um, is kind of held against you, it makes it a little tougher. The banks ain't giving you the loans they would give. There are there are still a lot of problems. We've come a long way. We certainly have. We've had a black president. Couldn't have happened just with black people.
well, yeah.
Uh,
And you say, well, it's little, that's a little thing, it's a little thing. But if you're going through a day and you're having a shitty day, and then you get one of those little micro, like, what is that? Well, whatever, maybe not. Okay, go along. And then something else hits you and whatever, and you go, that was, man. Then by the end of the day, you want to kill somebody. I would imagine.
well, I'm trying to remember who the writer was that said every black person in America is filled with rage, and sometimes you do get angry, but it's a different life. There's different things we have to deal with, and that's not to say that that makes it easy for our white counterparts. Life is difficult in general. We just have some added stuff.
Yeah, it's a thing. I mean, life sucks, but I don't know. I got to tell you, this straight white male thing is great. You're like, that's whew, easy, easy
and
street, man. Good
but
God.
the
What was
trick
it?
is,
Who was some comedian who was like, "Oh, yeah, I'd re up every year." Like,
and
if you had to choose, that's just easier, man. Good God, but
it
that's a lie.
isn't it.
Is that like life is just great? They hand you money? No, but like you're saying, there are these little tiny things. Yeah, I get less of those, man. That's not fair. But I don't know.
Well, life isn't fair, but what we can keep doing is trying to make it as fair as we can. Keep moving forward. Keep doing our very best to judge people by the content of their character and not their color.